What's going on, everybody? This is at Shauna Taught Me on Instagram, and I am so happy to finally bring you version 7 of the cheat sheet. I know it's long awaited, and I know that people have been asking for it, ready for it, and it is finally here. So the purpose of this video is to walk you through not only the new tabs, but just in general how to use the cheat sheet to help yourself be the most successful that you can be in your options trading and stock journey. Okay, so first up we have the main tab, and in this tab, just important note, at the top in big bold letters it says you have to make a copy. So no one can have access to the master copy of the sheet except for me. Otherwise a bunch of people will make changes and it'll be broke all the time. So when you get access to the sheet, you're going to click File, you're going to hit Make a Copy, and it's going to save a copy to your Google Drive that you can edit and type in. Otherwise, you won't be able to edit anything that's in the field. I have my disclaimer here just so that y'all know, right? And you have all the information that you need about the sheet. If there's any errors or issue, please email me at roster@shaunataughme.com. But okay, let's get into the meat of it. So you can come in here and you can type in any ticker that you want. And when you type in that ticker, what the sheet is going to do, it's going to go and fetch information about the stock that you typed in. So the example that I love to use, Starbucks is my favorite stock. So I'm going to punch that ticker back in, and you'll see it gives you the information about the ticker, the price, whether the stock is optionable, what the close was yesterday or the previous trading day, when their anticipated next earnings is. What I've found sometimes with the earnings, it takes a while for it to update since their earnings just passed. That's why it's still showing July. And then over here we have, so on this page, again, this is just a bunch of different technical indicators that you'll have at your fingertips reach. That way you don't have to look at multiple tabs and, charts while you're trying to just get a bird's eye view of the stock. So you got your exponential moving averages here. You have different buy and sell signals that I've established here. So like your RSI, it'll tell you, just this a high level. Is it stable? Is it cold and oversold? Is it hot and overbought? Right? Your whether or not the stock is above its 20-day moving average. Is it below its 20-day moving average? Is it closer to support or is it closer to resistance? Right? The next thing you'll have over here, so here's the RSI in number format. Then you have your simple moving averages. You have your 52-week high, 52-week low, your volatility for the week and the month. And then over here, really important, you have levels of support and resistance that are calculated using the pivot point formula. If you're curious about what that is, you can Google it. But this is based on the high and the low and the previous close. So this number updates and changes throughout the day. But these are your support and your resistance levels, right? Down here, we do have price action. So we have changes in the stock for the day, week, month, quarter, year. We have the highs for the day, week, month, quarter, year, and we also have the lows for the week, day, week, month, quarter, year. So all of this information is available at your fingertips by just simply typing in a ticker. And then over here, we have a couple of graphs that just give you a visual representation, very high level, of what the stock has been doing for the week, the month, and the quarter. You can see it visually. It's not really too in-depth or detailed. Like, I didn't want to overwhelm people. I just wanted to give people a bird's eye view of what the stock is doing. Now you can look here, you can hover over the line graphs to see what the price was, and it'll show you the date and what the price was on that date. So this is the main tab, right? So now we're going to get into the next tab, which is one of the newer tabs, which I like to call the Options Informer. So the Options Informer is a tab that I made to help people understand just what they're getting into when it comes to their stock options, because a lot of times there's a lot of information, there's a lot of terms, there's a lot of things that you need to do in terms of like the Greeks and the stats. So I just took all of the questions that people ask me in my inbox and people email me and ask me, and I tried to put it into the sheet so that before you come to me, you could come in here and check for yourself and learn for yourself and know for yourself. So up here at the top, we have all of these fields where you can enter in information about your options contract. And you're going to get all of this information from the stats and the Greeks on whatever contract it is that you're trying to purchase. Okay. Just a note, if you're seeing anything that says like, value, error, or NA, make sure that your inputs up here are properly formatted and make sure that they are correct, because all of this is very sensitive and is based on the input that you put in. So all of these values here, like, it explains everything that you punch up here, it will explain it to you down here in layman's terms, and all of these things change based off of the input that you put in at the top up here. So for example, the bid and the ask, something that you should know about in options is when you're looking at contracts, if the bid ask spread is tight, meaning the difference between the bid and the ask is small, that's usually a good sign that there's, a decent amount of volume and that people are buying these contracts. Versus if the bid ask spread is wide, meaning there's a huge difference between the two, that's a little bit more dangerous, and you're more likely to lose money, because remember, the bid is how much people are willing to pay for a contract you're selling. The ask is how much people want to charge you for a contract that you're buying, and the difference between the two matters. So for example, right now the bid and the ask is about a 2 cent difference. So you see 158 and 160. If we scroll down here to where it has the bid and the ask, you'll see that it calculates it for us. Not only does it calculate it for us, it tells you over here in layman's terms, the spread is tight. This is good. Contracts should fill and sell quickly. Now, if I change this to, let's say, 258, and I hit enter, if we come back down to the bid ask spread, the spread is $1 now, which means the difference between the buy and the sell, or the bid and the ask, is $1. And it tells you right here, this is a super wide spread. This is very risky. You may not be able to sell your contracts at all, or we'll have to sell at the bid. Let me fix this. I'll fix it later. But again, this whole sheet is dynamic. It will update based on the inputs that you put in. So I definitely recommend that just make sure you get these numbers right. But this is a great tool to understand what's actually happening in your contracts. And there's also a section down here at the bottom that explains what's going on with the Greeks. It tells you what to do with it, what that means. And I know a lot of people struggle with the Greeks. So definitely love this new tab. This is going to be one of my favorite tabs, and I highly recommend people use it. Up next, we have the price movement tab. So this is another new tab that is exclusive to version 7. If you have version 6 or any version before that, you will not have this. Version 7, we have the ticker. So where you come in and put in the ticker, and any ticker that you put in, so I'll change it again just so that you can see it update. Any ticker that you put in, it will calculate the average price movement for this stock. So you can see the daily average move. So on a daily basis, AMD can move anywhere from $1.63 up or down, right? For the week, it usually moves about $3.89. And it's just the average calculation based on the data that has come back, which is shown in these two graphs here. So you can see at the top it says daily price change for this year to date. So all of the trading days for this year to date are included, and this is dynamic. So as more days pass, more prices will be included in this chart. But if you look at the chart from a bird's eye view, you can see on the left-hand side, it shows you the price range. And then these blue bars are what the stock moved each day. And you can also click on these and hover over it to see. So on January 8th, the stock, the difference between the previous day and that day was $4.65. And you can just get an idea of how the stock moves. So when you're buying your contracts, you can say, okay, I want to buy a contract for AMD. I think it's going to run $20. And you can come here and look and see, okay, it barely made it to 5. Like, AMD does not move in $20 increments in a day. So that wouldn't be a smart idea to buy a contract that's $20, $20 above where the stock is currently, for a short-term contract. Versus if you're looking for long-term contracts, you probably want to look at the weekly changes so that you can see. And even with the weekly change, the biggest spike you see is here, $13.92. So that's the biggest run that it had for this year to date for a week. So you wouldn't want to get a weekly contract, say, oh, I think AMD will run $20 this week. Now, for a month, it may be more realistic, but it's like, this is just to help you understand, okay, so AMD usually moves, like if you look at these lines, and then also you have the average up here again, like I was saying, you look at these lines, you can see, how much it actually moves and make better decisions about which strike price you're trying to get. Okay? So that's how you use the price movement tab. Again, this is new. This is for version 7. And then next up, we have the new / fixed historical earnings behavior tab. So before, there was a different format where the sheet showed you the past 4 earnings. The site that I was using, they changed the format of their data that requires a login. So I had to put together a different solution for this. So now you could punch in any ticker you want. So like I could punch in Starbucks, and then let's say I know that their earnings was like July 27th, right? I can go to July 27th, punch in that date, and it will give me data from 3 weeks before and 1 week after, so that I can see exactly what happened for Starbucks's earnings, right? This is a valuable tool because a lot of people like to try to play earnings when it comes to their options trading. And it's important for you to know when you need to get in, when you need to get out, what it's done historically in the past. And if you don't know what the dates are for the earnings, I've set up a dynamic link here that will change based on whatever ticker you input. So you can come here, just hover over this link, and you see it says Starbucks, click it, and it will take you to the NASDAQ website for that ticker. And what you can do is scroll down, and it'll tell you the dates for their earnings. So right here, July 27, 2021. And what I want you to understand and remember is that this will change based on for what ticker you put. So you see right now, if I hover over it, it says Starbucks. Let's say I put in TJ Maxx, changes to TJX. Now when I hover over it, it says TJX, right? So just don't change this link. All you gotta do is hover over it and then click on this link, and it'll take you to the NASDAQ site to show you when the earnings dates were. You can come in and punch those dates in accordingly, take a look at the price action, what it did, and do your research. Okay? So that is the new historical earnings tab. My favorite tab is the historical price action tab, where you could punch in any ticker and you could punch in any date or any year, all the way back to when the stock was listed on the exchange. So for example, I know Starbucks was listed back in the 90s. So if I want to go to see what was Starbucks doing in 1999, I can do that and look at the price data accordingly, right? And then I can see it not only in quarterly format, but if I scroll down, I can see month to month for that year, and I can really hone in on what it did for those specific months. So this is why this is one of my favorite tabs to use, and this is a tab that I use the most when I'm doing my research. So now those tabs that we just went over, you could literally just use those tabs and be fine in your research. The tabs that I have here, these are all just little, extra cherry on top. But we have the 30-day comparison tab, where you could punch in 3 different tickers and see how the stocks are moving in relation to each other. So for example, we have Moderna, and then I forget what this one is, but you can see when you punch them in, these 2 stocks have been trading together almost identical, and there's different reasons different people will want to see these things, but this is just, again, another tool to help you have a little better idea about what you're doing. So let's say you want to compare how your stock moves in relation to SPY, the S&P 500. Let me punch in Starbucks. So it's like, it's better when the stocks are closer together in range, but if they're not, it'll look like this. So that's why I put that. Oh, I'm just gonna reverse. There we go. That's why I put these 2, so that you can see this is a good example. You have a watch list, where you can come in here, punch in the ticker for whatever stocks you want to keep on your watch list, and it'll update the price for you, as well as the percent change and the dollar change for your stock. So this is a good way to check when your stocks have dropped or dipped. You have a standard deviation chart. I have the explanation and instructions, and a link for you to have to do more research on understanding standard deviation and Bollinger Bands. Again, you can punch in any ticker you want, and it's going to calculate and change everything for you. The next one is the customizable RSS feed. So another issue that people have when they're doing research is that they have to go and look for news in different areas. So now with this, you can literally just punch in a ticker, and it's going to pull in news from NASDAQ.com, news articles that are related to that stock or that stock is mentioned in, and you can go through and read all of these here from the cheat sheet, which I think is great. The Market Watch RSS feed is just a general, feed of news articles that are coming in from marketwatch.com, which you can hover over that and go to the site if you want to find out what that is. But it's a great resource for just keeping a beat on what's happening in the market. This is another new tab that I added, which is called the 10 to, what is it? The 10 to 2 year yield curve. So let me do Treasury. I'm going to change this to Treasury yield curve. So basically, I came across somebody on the internet who was talking about how there was an inverted yield curve in 2019 and how those usually signal a crash or a recession in the market. And I just wanted to see whether it was true or not. I have some links over here for you to read up on it if you're curious to learn about what an inverted yield curve is. But basically, you have data here that I pulled in from the Treasury website, and it just shows the best graph to look at is this one here. It shows the interest rate for short-term and long-term, short-term and long-term interest rates. And when a short-term interest rate goes above the long-term interest rate, that signals an inverted yield curve. So this is a more advanced subject. This is just kind of like, a pet project for me, something that I wanted to see. So you can do research on that on your own. And like I said, I've included links up here in the corner for you to do that. But down here, you can see it, right? Blue is the 3-month interest rates, red is the 2-year, yellow is the 10-year. In 2019, the short term, which is 3-month, became higher than the 10-year, which is a problem. That creates an inverted yield curve. And then you have a 7 to 24-month window where it's predicting a crash or a recession in the market. So like I said, you can do your own research on that. This is just like an extra added bonus. You probably really won't be using this that much, but it's there for you if you need it. I have a tab that shows you how to use the options profit calculator. I have a link that takes you to the demo video on YouTube, as well as a link that takes you to the actual options profit calculator itself. I have screenshots of what it looks like, and the video is pretty much self-explanatory to show you, basically just gives you an idea of what your options contracts can potentially do. You can look at it for calls and puts. And then, if you're into more advanced options, you have these here, credit spreads, iron condors, all of that stuff. But yeah, you can watch the demo video that I have on YouTube that explains how to use it. And then also you can go straight to the options profit calculator itself. I have a resources tab, which just has a bunch of YouTube videos and articles that I use to help me get started when I started trading options. And then at the end, you have 4 quarters worth of trade journals. So you can come in here and punch in the information, just to keep track of your trades. And I have all of the information that you should be keeping track of, as well as it'll calculate your total profit and loss for that quarter. So it's a very robust sheet. It's a very robust sheet, but it could definitely come in handy in a pinch when you're trying to do research on your stocks, or when you just need a bird's eye view to figure out what's going on with your stock. It cut down on research time a lot for me. So I hope that you all enjoy version 7 of the cheat sheet, and I thank you so much for rocking with me, supporting me. And yeah, I love it. Follow me on Instagram at Shauna Taught Me, SHAUNA Taught Me, and send me those profit shots. If you make money with the cheat sheet, I want to know about it because it makes me happy. Okay. So again, if you have any questions or you have any issues, you can email me at roster, ROSTER. Let me go to the main tab so I can show you. You can email me at roster@shaunataughtme.com, and I will get back to you within 24 to 36 hours to get a response, okay? So you all have a great day. Happy trading. Stay green. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next video. All right.